Hey friends, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. Welcome back. Today is an exciting day. We've got a Falcon Heavy launch today. There is just nothing like watching a Falcon Heavy launch. It is fantastic. I am super excited for this. I feel like I haven't seen a Falcon Heavy launch in a really, really long time. So I'm excited for a whole bunch of reasons. One, Falcon Heavy. How can you not love Falcon Heavy? Like, I'm just amped up about just Falcon Heavy in general. But also, launching today is the GOES-U satellite. And I'm like, I love, obviously, doing the weather balloons and all that kind of a weather geek. And I like the GOES satellites. And the GOES-U satellite is going to be one of the most, I think it's the most advanced weather satellite ever built. And so this is a really exciting satellite that it's launching today. So pumped for a whole bunch of different reasons. And we've got about an hour to go for launch. We might have to kind of hold back our excitement just a little bit. Hopefully not, but we are at only a 30% chance of launching today because of weather. So we might have to kind of keep an eye on that. Weather might not be in our favor today, but we do have a 2-hour launch window. So 2 hours that we can launch. This is not an instantaneous launch window. We do have 2 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it gets delayed. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. We're going to find out together, and we'll see if we can actually see a launch today. Now, the primary concern, we'll go take a look at current launch conditions. We'll take a look at what the concerns are for today, but it's mostly storms that are in the area. So I'm going to jump into that here in just a second. But before we do, we'll say hello to some of the people, all the regulars that are here in our chats. We'll check in with people. I see Jeff Walsma over on our Facebook. Hello, Jeff. Jeff's a regular name we see all the time. We got a whole bunch of regulars over on our YouTube. The internets, on the YouTubes. hello to everybody that's over there. See Red Scorpion, Christy Girl, Cheryl's here, Framrick, one of our awesome moderators, Sebby the Time Waster. We got Red Scorpion, another moderator. Wild West Dan is in the house. John Chorney, Anita, another amazing moderator. James Gammer, Steve Jenkins. Hello to everybody. Gregory's watching us here from Lancaster, PA. Look at, I even got stuff. If you ask a really good question and I'm going to talk about it, I'll even put you on the screen. We did our last couple of live streams and I forgot that I had this technology. And so I haven't been doing it recently, but I have this capability. I'm going to try to use it today. See if I remember. So let's see. Andicon Max says, hello, Tori. How you doing today? Hope your evening is going great. So far, so good. We'll see if we get a Falcon Heavy launch today. That would be even better. Preferably, I would love it to be at the beginning of the window. Just, you know, I like hanging out with you guys, but I don't want to stay here forever. But I will if we have to go to the end of the window. We'll all have to do it together. You can't, you have to promise me, if I have to stay, you have to stay. Don't leave me here by myself. Although I'm kind of by myself. This is what I do. I just talk in a room by myself all the time. Except for Director Tori. Quiet down over there. He's all right. He's fine for right now. All right. Let's dive into what's happening today on the launch side, or the weather side of things. We do have, we've got some live, let's see, I promise I'm a professional. We want to, one of these buttons is going to get us over to this screen. There we go. We do have a live view. This is the Falcon Heavy on the launch pad today. Very pristine looking over at launch pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center. This is the only launch pad that Falcon Heavy can launch from. They do have another launch pad here at Cape Canaveral, Slick 40, but Falcon Heavy cannot launch from that, just Falcon 9. Crew cannot launch from that either, so we see the crew tower, the crew access tower there on the right-hand side. Same tower that they launch Crew Dragon from, and so this is where Falcon Heavy is. Primary concern here for today is our weather. We've got some potential weather issues, and they look like this, and it's really these storms that are in the area. So we've got some radar going on. It's scattered storms, so maybe we can find a hole, right? We just need a small hole to get through. Quiet down. We just have to get through a small gap. That's not any better. I don't know what to say. We just have to get through the storms, and they only. I have to say, there's a small hole that we have to get through, right? If there's storms in the area, we can still fly through them as long as they're not too close. The biggest thing is with storms like this is lightning. Lightning is no good because we have to have a clear area that has no lightning for a pretty wide area so that we don't cause rocket-induced lightning. And there is lightning in these storms. You can see some of the heavy stuff has some lightning in it. We got to keep that stuff away. Not only do we have to keep it away, but it has to stay away for 30 minutes, right? So you'll see in the countdown timer that's way over on the side there, there's a big weather gate that happens at T-minus 30 minutes. That weather gate is specifically for lightning. Once we pass that weather gate, we can't have any more lightning. Not only can we not have lightning, we can't even have elevated electric potential near the ground. And there are sensors that are measuring the electric potential in the atmosphere, and we can't have any of those break the limits after the T-minus 30 minute mark. So we have to kind of keep an eye on that. Now, the first big thing that's going to happen, and I'll probably be talking, so I'll probably be missing it, so you guys have to keep an eye out for me. But at T-minus 50 minutes, 50, we have a go-no-go poll for fueling the rockets. That's the big moment here that we're going to find out if we're going to slip to later in the window. Because at 50 minutes, if they start fueling, that's a really good sign that they're going for the top of the window. if we get, and that's only like 3 minutes from now. If 3 minutes from now we don't, and we might not hear about it because I don't have any of the comms. I don't know if they're piping the comms through my feed. Probably should turn the volume up on my feed just in case they are. We'll hear about the no-go poll for fueling, which is happening right now. And hopefully they'll start fueling and we'll go for the top of the window. If they don't, if they see something they don't like, they'll push it off. They won't even start fueling it because once they start fueling it, they can't recover everything. They're not recovering 100% of the fuel that they put in the rocket. So they're not going to waste money if they don't think there's a chance. Looking at the picture, looks pretty good. Like, we got a lot of clear skies. So if we can just find a hole, then we can get through. So that's the idea. I do hear, hold on, when I turn the music down. Hold on, everybody be quiet for a minute. I can like barely hear comms in the background. I got the volume cranked as high as it'll go. I can't really understand what they're saying. I thought maybe I was going to be able to give us some comms there, but hopefully they pipe them into the feed that I have. Okay, so let's continue on the weather topic here. Here's our mission execution forecast put out by the 45th Space Force Weather Squadron. Right now, 70% chance of violating weather conditions, meaning 30% go, 70% no go. Primary concerns, cumulus clouds, anvil clouds. We can't launch through any of those. They can cause rocket-induced lightning, so we're not going to launch through cumulus clouds, through anvil clouds. No good. Surface electric field rules. That's that electric potential at the surface. Those sensors are also going to be that's lightning, basically. They're keeping an eye on lightning. Cumulus clouds, anvil clouds can also cause lightning. So those are the big things that they're keeping an eye on whether or not we'll be able to launch today. So lots of potential for scrubs, for holds. We're hoping maybe not. There's a couple of, right, so we're over here. Couple of storms in the area, some rain, some heavy stuff over here. We scroll over this direction. We want to keep this ugly stuff. Stay away. We don't want any of this stuff through. But we want to make sure that we just need a hole to get through the storms. All right, let's flip back to, so one of the things, so we're launching the GOES-U satellite today. Here's a look at all the GOES constellation or satellites, right, that have been put up, right? If we get rid of this, here's all our satellites. You can see all over the place that are orbiting around Earth. We've got, let's see, can I pull up Starlink? No, we can't do that. What can I pull up that's in low Earth orbit? Zarya, here's the space station. It's not even showing. That's cool. But if we go to GOES, so GOES is in geostationary Earth orbit. There's a whole bunch of GOES satellites that are out there right now. They serve as one of the main weather forecasting products for North America, for the US. Canada uses it as well. There's generally kind of two main GOES satellites that are in our sky. Geostationary orbit, so they're always in the same point in the sky at all times over the US. There's one in the east, and it's not actually even over the US. It's kind of, if we look, technically, like it's usually, here's GOES 15, one of the more recent ones. It's technically down by the equator, but it's taken an angle at North America there. So there's one that's in the east, and then there's one that's positioned further over here in the west, primarily because all of our weather comes from the west. And so we kind of get a sneak peek at the weather as it comes from the west. So one of the really cool things, I don't know if you're following me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. I posted where's my window? I posted some pictures directly from the GOES 16 satellites. I posted these, where is it? Right here. I posted these back on June 20th. Here, I'll put these on the screen here so everybody can see what's going on. So here's an example image from the GOES 16 satellite here. We'll get this out of the way. This image, this is kind of the really cool thing. One of the reasons why I love the GOES satellites so much. I downloaded this myself from a satellite dish that's in my backyard, gathering data from the GOES satellite. The GOES satellite just broadcasts to the Earth. It's unencrypted. You can set up a Raspberry Pi, which is what I have, this tiny little credit card sized computer, a Raspberry Pi, a radio receiver or an SDR, a cable, a filter, and an antenna. It's 5 things that you need. It's super simple, super inexpensive. It can be a little bit frustrating because the GOES signal is very, very sensitive. So you sometimes have to battle with it. I'm still battling with it, but then you can download images, like real-time live weather images. This is from June 20th from the GOES satellite. So I didn't download these off the internet.
Current new T0 will be 2126 Zulu.
Oh.
And based on the LWO's report, we're looking at roughly about a 30% POV during that time to help us avoid a storm cell. That being said, I'd like to go ahead and conduct the propellant load and launch readiness poll for the NASA engineering team. NASA CE.
NASA CE, go.
SMA.
SMA, go.
SMD. SMD is go for propellant load. NASA MIM. NASA MIM is go for propellant load. LSP.
LSP's go.
The NASA engineering team is ready for propellant load and launch.
All right, that's great news. So we are go for prop loading. I don't know if you caught that, but it sounds like the window is going to slip by about 10 minutes. So they just said 5:26 p.m. I believe is what they said. Let's see. Discord message for you. I had one of my moderators saying make the comms louder. I had that cranked as loud as I can go on my board. I wonder if there's loud. So that's as loud as I can get the comms to go. I don't think I can make them any louder. Sorry. Okay. So, anyways, going back to the GOES satellite here. So these are images, like I said, I downloaded them directly from the GOES satellite. You can do this at home. It's a really cool project to do. It's inexpensive. You're going to need some patience, though, because it can be frustrating. So I wanted to demonstrate this. Maybe people don't care, but I thought it was really cool. I don't know if it'll work because I was fighting with it. So this is... where is my other window? Okay, this is my Raspberry Pi that's on my network. On the left-hand side, here, we'll just clear the window. We'll start over again. Left-hand side, this is my Raspberry Pi that's connected, has an antenna connected to it. It's pointed directly at the GOES satellite. So right now, I got a terrible signal. So this is not going to work. But I was going to try to download an image live. So here's the problem. I am communicating with it. Nobody's probably going to be able to tell what's happening here, but I am communicating with it. You can see these are all the packets, or this is kind of a debug log here.
CLD on countdown 1.
Comms here. Hold on.
NLM.
Can you confirm the government team is ready to proceed with propellant loading?
The NASA team is ready to proceed with propellant load.
Copy, thank you.
Oh, I can make them a little louder. Here, let me boost that. That might help. Okay.
Polling is complete, and we're go for propellant loading and launch.
There we go. A little bit louder. It's only coming out of one side of my headphones, but... Okay, so anyways, you can see this is my satellite dish at home communicating with a GOES satellite. Right now, there's something called the VIT average, which is basically, it's kind of like an error rate, which is this column right here. I don't know if you can read it. It's probably going to be super tiny for you, but my error rate is over 700. And if you look at the end, it's showing you how many packets I'm dropping right now, which is really high. Really, you need that to be 0 in order to actually decode an image. If I mess around with the antenna and get it, like, you literally are moving it like millimeters, and I probably need a better cable. Cables are important, good cables, but if you can get that error rate down below 600, you can download images. Sometimes it comes and goes. It also depends on like the temperature. Like if your Raspberry Pi gets too hot, it can really mess with things. But anyways, it's really cool. This is actively communicating with GOES 16 right now. So it's a software. People want to know what software. It's called GOESTOOLS that I use. There's another one out there. I can't remember what it's called, but I use GOESTOOLS. And it's really cool. It's a cool Raspberry Pi project to set up. If you think about it and you want to check it out after the fact, is it through TCP? Yeah, so it downloads, it'll receive the signal by the radio through an SDR. This is super technical information. Creates a TCP pipeline. You got to open another window and actually read the TCP packet information, and that's what's going to actually decode the image and write it. Anyways, if it's something you're interested in, join our Discord, and I'll put all kinds of links, and I'll answer any questions you want about that GOESTOOL Raspberry Pi project. It's really cool. I think it's cool. Anyways, we geeked out for just a minute there. Okay, let's talk about... So they are go for propellant loading, which is really cool. So they're going to give it a try. They slipped it by 10 minutes to 5:26 p.m., so we're about 51...
Falcon Heavy tanks are venting for the start propellant load.
There you go. Start a propellant load.
This is the launch director with abort instructions. For non-urgent no-go conditions, brief the CE or LD and they will approve aborting the countdown. For urgent issues affecting the safety of the operation, operator shall call hold on the countdown net. Launch control will abort the launch auto sequence immediately and proceed into the launch abort auto sequence. At T-minus 10 seconds, launch control will be hands-off and relying on automated abort criteria for the remainder of the count.
All right, there we go. All right, so we're starting. So our launch today is heading to the east. If we take a look at our trajectory map, courtesy of flightclub.io, my friend Declan over there makes these really awesome maps. You can keep an eye on what's happening here. Generally, geostationary satellites, especially weather satellites, they're in geostationary orbit. They stay in the same point in the sky during their operational mission. For the most part, there are a bunch of GOES satellites that are up there. Some are in like parking orbits for spares, and they can shift them around a little bit if they need to. So, for example, a couple of years ago, there was an error with one of the GOES satellites. They kind of shifted that out of the way and moved another one that was a backup into place. They've done that a whole bunch of times. The GOES satellites have been around since like 1975. GOES 1 was launched in 1975, and we're now up to GOES 18 is in orbit or on orbit now. This is called GOES U, which I'm expecting will be called GOES 19 once it goes operational. Typically, they all have a letter after it, and then when it goes operational, they give it a number. I don't know if I necessarily understand why that is, but anyways, this will probably be GOES 19 when it launches. But anyways, so we're going to the east. So we've got
The launch auto sequence has started.
We've got a launch from Launchpad 39A at Kennedy Space Center. It's going to go up. We're going to get side booster separation, boost back burn, and then heading back to the landing zone. On land. No drone ship. On land. Landing zone 1 and landing zone 2. Double booster landing. Hopefully successful. No reason to think that it wouldn't be. We're going to get a double booster landing back at LZ1 and LZ2. Should be really cool. The center core center core continues on.
Space Lab straight at the T-Tab. That's the answer.
Right, our famous center core. It'll separate here. Center core is being expended. Kind of interesting about the center core. So they're not going to recover the center core today. Center core has a lot of energy because it continues on with the ship past that first separation. So it has a lot of energy. So they've had some challenges. Like they've actually not really technically recovered a center core yet. They landed one time they landed it, but then it got destroyed on transit back to on the drone ship. And other than that, they haven't recovered a center core, which is really interesting and kind of a bummer because we've all had these visions of them landing the center cores and reusing all this stuff. But yeah, center cores, they haven't been able to reuse a center core yet. Not that they've really needed it, but anyways, center core today, they're not even trying. That's going to be expended. That's so they can use all the fuel in the center core to really give it that extra into orbit. And the second stage going to continue on. That'll cut off. There we go. That'll cut off over the Atlantic Ocean there. And then we've got 2 more burns after that. So we have 3 burns total. We've got the initial parking orbit that it'll go to. Then they will reignite about 26 minutes after launch. I don't know if that's shown on Declan's map here. I don't think it is. They'll reignite. So the initial parking orbit is kind of a low orbit. They will reignite to extend their apogee, right? If you watched my How to Get to Orbit video, hopefully you know what an apogee is, but that's the highest point in the orbit. They'll burn again to extend that. Then they will burn a third time to circularize that third burn. We might not be here for that because that's like 4 hours into the launch, 4.5 hours or something like that. And then the satellite is deployed 4.5 hours into the mission. So we're probably not going to stay here for that whole thing, but we'll see what happens. I'm planning to leave before that 4.5 hours, but I don't know. We'll find out. So that's what I've got for you. Let's get our live views up here. Where's my live view? There we go. Live view of the Falcon Heavy. And let's grab a couple of comments and questions. We've been ignoring all the comments and stuff from everybody. So we'll say hi to everybody who's here. Yeah, Marco making a comment about Director Tory. I mentioned him. He says, AKA Justin Timberlake. A lot of people told me that Director Tory looks like Justin Timberlake. I think it's because he has a hat on and you can't see the hairline. Maybe I didn't mean that to be offensive. Settle down. But I heard that comment a whole bunch, actually. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Carol's got a much better way to explain it. I was struggling to explain this. In all seriousness, we just need a small window in the weather. Thank you, Carol. That's what we need, a small window in the weather. I like that wording a little bit better. I was trying to fix that. As Applesauce mentions, weather can change fast in 30 minutes in Florida. Indeed, it can. Lots of storms go through Florida. That 30 minutes that can be tough to hit. They pushed it 10 minutes to try to miss a storm cell. And so hopefully that's good enough because we are into propellant loading here and we're 45 minutes away from launch. So hopefully it'll cooperate and play nice. But that can change pretty quickly. All right, continue on. Let me go. I'm going through a couple of. Paul Sidhu says Raspberry Pi magic, and that Raspberry Pi project is pretty cool. And the software, for anybody that wants to know, software is called GOESTOOLS. It's on GitHub. Super easy to.
Stage 1, BY and NY launch load has started.
It's super easy to set up on the software and hardware side. It's difficult to get it working well. Mostly just because like every little bit counts for getting a good signal. Like you need really good cables, a really good antenna. If you go on like Amazon, there's a GOES kit that you can just buy. It has the antenna, the cable, the filter. You can buy the GOES kit. I think it's like, I don't know, $100 or $200, between $100 and $200 for the kit. Then you have to have your own Raspberry Pi. So that's maybe another, $50 to $100, depending on what kind of Raspberry Pi you get. So yeah, $300 total. And you can start receiving images directly from the GOES satellite. And of course, as Paul says, it looks like it's over the horizon from the UK. Yeah, you might not be able to see it from the UK. It's really kind of like a US thing. Sorry. Whom are you communicating with? The aliens. No, not the aliens. That's the GOES 16 satellite. Directly. That was launched. I don't remember what year it was launched. Like 2017, maybe? GOES 16 was launched. Somewhere in that range. Wild West Dan is having a panic attack. Said I was only half listening and all I heard was hold, hold, hold. We're not holding. That was just the instructions. If you have a hold, call out hold, hold, hold. We're good. Everything is fine. It's fine. Side boosters or RTLS to the landing zone at the Cape, but is the center core landing on the drone ship? No, center core is not landing on the drone ship. It is being expended, unfortunately. Where's my sad sounds? Let's see. Oh, Victoria says, "Hi, Tori. I'm here at Kennedy for the launch. I'm so excited. That's pretty awesome. I've never seen a Falcon Heavy. God, a Falcon Heavy. I've never seen a Falcon Heavy launch. I've seen a Falcon 9 launch. I've seen an Atlas 5 launch. Never seen a Falcon Heavy launch. I feel like one day I should do that. I've never seen Starship launch either. One day I'm gonna do that too. Yes. Anita says a Falcon Heavy. Yep, that's the new. Yep. It's gonna be a Falcon Heavy. It's gonna deorbitate. Yep, there we go. It's Falcon Heavy, new T-shirt. Deorbitate. Yep. Deorbitate. There we go. Let's give some love to the people that are not on YouTube. Unfortunately, if you're not watching on YouTube, I can't put your comments on the screen. I can only put YouTube comments on the screen, but I'm still reading them anyways. Let's see. Jamie Dunn says the cell is sliding to the south. We be good. We be good. Yeah. So here's the weather we're kind of keeping an eye on here. Let's see. Can we play it? What's going to happen here? We've got some storm cells that are over here in the area, right? We got to remember that, and we got all that lightning happening. We got to remember that we need not only a window for the launch, but we also need a window for the landing as well. So we need windows for both. So we don't want it too close to the landing zone either if it slides south, but hopefully. Here's our 5 o'clock forecast. That's probably this cell here that they're keeping an eye on. You can see lightning in the area projected here. So it's probably this cell that we're keeping an eye on. If it's sliding south, we want it to slide south far enough. Like it looks like we've kind of got a buffer. It's got to slide south far enough that we have that window. Okay. Victoria's never been to any launch. So first launch is a Falcon Heavy or Falcon Heavy. That's pretty awesome. It'll be cool. I'm jealous that you're seeing the Falcon Heavy, especially with an RTLS landing at the landing zones. I hope for your sake that the weather holds out. Skyfire85 over on our Twitch channel says, before launch, GOES satellites are designated by letters. Once satellite is launched successfully, it's redesignated with a number, but it doesn't really say why though. Yeah, I was trying to find that answer out myself before as I was preparing for this, and I couldn't find it. I don't know why they do that. It seems strange to me. Why not just start with a number? I don't know why. Jeff Walls, are we going to see a return of the Boeing capsule, or will there be a rescue mission on another capsule? Well, this has, of course, been the big topic. I strongly suggest, if you think there's going to be a rescue mission, that you should watch my latest video about that. Because the answer is no. There will not be a rescue mission. At least, and I always put this people get annoyed with me because I put this asterisk in there, but based on the current data, there is no reason for a rescue mission. Everybody's panicking and freaking out about Starliner. There's nothing wrong with there's things wrong with Starliner. There's nothing unsafe about Starliner. They're going to return just fine. Unless NASA comes out tomorrow and says something completely different that they've never told us up to this point, everything they've told us at this point, there's no reason why Starliner can't come back. There you go. I definitely recommend watching my video about the rescue mission. Because not only does it tell you that there's not going to be a rescue mission, but it tells you why there's not going to be a rescue mission. It's just not needed. It's not needed. A lot of people also got upset. We'll talk about this for a little bit because this, of course, this is the news of the day. A lot of people got upset thinking that I was saying that like a rescue mission was not possible. Not what I'm saying at all. Rescue mission is certainly possible. A lot of people got upset with me. A lot of people in the comments got upset with me too and said like, SpaceX could definitely do it. I agree. SpaceX could do it. It's not needed. They're not going to voluntarily do it when it's not needed. It's just not needed. So there we go. There, Graham is putting a link to the video in the YouTube comments. I think Wild West Dan dropped one in the Twitch comments. Here, I'll drop one in the Facebook comments. Boeing Starliner rescue. Oops. I meant to put the link in there with it, and I forgot. There. Now I put it in. All right. Thank you to my awesome moderators for grabbing that and sharing it out. So hopefully this weather can hold out here. We do have... Where's my other window? Window. We got a lot of windows here. So looking at the hazard map here, you'll see this is also shows the direction that it's going. We've also got... Come on, load. There we go. You can also see where the center core is being expended. You can see we've got a hazard zone out here. That's for the center core expendedness. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That's where the center core is going to crash. Or actually, I'm sorry. Center core crash is out here. I don't know what this hazard is. What is this hazard? What's this red? The red hazard. This red hazard is... I don't know what this red hazard is for. Does anybody know what the red one's for? This is where the center core is going to crash. Oh, that's the... Nope. Okay. Back it up. Fairing recovery position is here. That's where they're recovering the fairing. You'd think I would have read this beforehand. So I was right. This is the center core spot. That's the fairing recovery position out here in the orange. Sorry, one-man show here, so trying to remember it all and talk and explain and show all at the same time. Okay. Let's see. We got a couple of... I saw a couple of super chats pop up here on my screen here. Thank you very much.
Fuel has started.
Thank you very much for the super chats. Robert Yanizik sent over a super chat with a little thumbs up there. Thank you very much, Robert. Really appreciate the support. And another thumbs up there, or another comment, super chat from Nina. It says epic. With another super chat. Thank you very much, Nina. Very much appreciated. Oh, and actually, so here's a little tidbit. I didn't know that YouTube would give me this, but this is news to me. That's Robert's 10th super chat on a live stream here. Well, how about that? Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it. A repeat offender. I probably shouldn't say that. Probably shouldn't say it like that. Let's see. I saw another... Oh, here's another question that came in from Robert. Are the boosters able to be used as a single Falcon 9 after this flight, or are they slightly different? The boosters, the side boosters, can be used on a Falcon 9, a regular Falcon 9 flight. They got to change the hardware a little bit, but the side boosters can be used on Falcon 9, and Falcon 9s can be used as side boosters. The center core cannot. The center core is very unique. It is not the same as a regular Falcon 9. There are some modifications to it. Center core cannot be used as a regular Falcon 9. A regular Falcon 9 cannot be used as a center core. So The center core is very unique. Side boosters, though, they're pretty much just Falcon 9s that are just strapped on. I'm sure it's a little more complicated than that, but that's the idea. All right, continuing on. Wild West Dan sending over an awesome super chat. Wild West Dan is pretty awesome. He does some cool live streaming over on Twitch as well. So if you're a Twitcher, if you're on the Twitches, check out Wild West Dan. Sent over a super chat. Says, I don't have anything interesting to say. I could make a goes no goes joke again, I guess. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you contributing to the conversation in some way. I'm not sure what you contributed, but you contributed a super chat. So thank you very much to Wild West Dan. All right. So we're about 30 minutes away here. Let me get one of the things that I haven't done yet that I should do before we get too far off is my countdown clock is not synced with theirs. I'm about 11 seconds ahead. So let's just sync this up here to make sure our clocks are matching correctly. There we go. That's based on the Kennedy Center clock that we see right there. Make sure our clocks are all matched up. Now, we're coming up now on a pretty important weather gate here. This is that's not the screen I wanted to take you to. I wanted to take you to this screen. We're coming up on the T-minus 30-minute weather gate. As I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, this is, at this point, once we pass the 30-minute mark, we can't have any more lightning strikes. Can't do it. So we've got to make sure that we've got no lightning happening once we pass by this T-minus 30-minute weather gate here. So we should hopefully be coming up on that. We should be hopefully be good soon. Or what am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm saying. Should hopefully be good for the duration. We could have had lightning. We can have lightning all the way up to 30 minutes and 1 second. And we're good. Once we pass 30 minutes, no more lightning. Let's see. Skyfire 85. They just marked the 10th reuse of a fairing half, or was it the 20th? No, it was the 20th. The 20th reuse of a fairing, which is kind of awesome. I remember talking about the fairing recoveries before they had even recovered them. Where we were talking about, I posted this on X, Twitter, as well. I remember like when we were talking about Mr. Steven, the big boat that would catch them, or was later renamed to Miss Tree. And then they got a second one called Miss Chief, and they were trying to like catch them in the big nets, and they did kind of, and there was all kinds of like dramatic almost catches, and then eventually they were like, you know what, let's just plop it in the water and we'll pick it up. That's so much easier and seems to be doing fine. So that's what they do now. But yeah, the 20th reuse of a fairing half just happened on Starlink the other day. Also helps that they have all these Starlink launches that they can kind of accept a little bit of extra risk on because it's their satellites and it's their launch, and they're kind of like, well, I don't know, if we lose some, we'll just build more. I mean, I'm sure it would cost money, but they can kind of be a little bit riskier on their Starlink launches, which has really been like a huge thing for SpaceX. Like, so, I don't know, Starlink is kind of awesome in a whole bunch of different ways. Like, one, the product itself is pretty awesome to be able to provide fast internet all over the world. That is pretty awesome. But two, like what it gives SpaceX as the launch provider, the ability to do, and like the cadence and how fast they can launch them, and like it gives them a reason to launch, and the more they're launching, the more they're learning, the more they're improving, and they're reusing stuff, and like it's just like Starlink is such a cool product and cool like path for SpaceX to go down, because also like that'll transition over to Starship, right? Initially Starship is probably going to be pretty risky once they're like, all right, we can get to orbit, we can open the payload, we can, you know, we probably can deploy a satellite, but do we really want to risk a multi-million, hundreds of millions of dollar satellite that a customer is paying us to do, and we'll risk our reputation or we just launch some Starlink satellites, and if we lose them, all right, whatever. So that'll be really cool when it comes to Starship as well. It's just such a cool path that they're able to go down. All right, let me get. I do have another resource here that we can pull up as well. Oh, a couple things that I probably should tell you that we haven't talked about yet as well. So this launch, we'll give you a couple of stats for those that like the stats. This is the 378th SpaceX launch of all time, which is crazy to think about. It's the 280th consecutive successful Falcon 9 Falcon Heavy launch. If it's successful, that'll be 280 successful flights in a row. This is now the 67th SpaceX launch of this year. I was kind of joking about this with I don't know, one of my fans had sent me a message and said, "How come you don't cover all the SpaceX launches anymore?" It's like, well, when I first started covering all the SpaceX launches, all the SpaceX launches was 8. I think the first year that I did SpaceX launches live, they only had 8 launches. So not that big of a deal. It's only June, and this is going to be the 67th launch of the year, and they have another 50 something planned. They're launching a ridiculous number of rockets now. There's no way I can cover all of those, but I am going to continue to cover the big ones. I'll try to pick and choose. If there's one that you're like, hey, it'd be really cool to cover this one, and maybe it's not on my radar, send me a message, or tag me on the X or the Twitter or the Facebook or wherever you are, or on Discord, and if I'm available, I'll consider covering it. This is the 13th launch from Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center for this year, and it has been a 32-day turnaround time for this particular pad. 32 days ago that we had a previous launch from this pad. Let's see. What else can we tell you about this particular mission? This is Center Core number 1087, Booster 1086, Booster 1072. Those are all the serial numbers in case you really care about that. This is a launch for NASA. So NASA is technically the customer. This is the GOES-U satellite is a NASA satellite. It will be operated by the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. But yeah, technically NASA is the customer here for SpaceX, which is why we get a whole bunch of nice NASA feeds, which is kind of cool. Oh, Framrick wants me to cover Starship Flight Test 5, please, Tori. Yes, definitely. I don't expect to have. We're expecting Starship Flight 5 to maybe be sometime in July, and late July, maybe early August. And I don't really have a whole lot going on that I don't think that would be a conflict. So, yes, we will be covering that for sure. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Time Waster says SpaceX has launched more rockets this year than they launched in 2022 in whole. Yeah, and we're only halfway through the year, which is crazy. The amount that they're launching is insane. And it's also interesting, it kind of ties into the GOES satellite that they're launching here today. So GOES was previously launched, I think, on Atlas V. And this is the first time that SpaceX is launching a GOES satellite on Falcon Heavy. So they kind of stole this business from United Launch Alliance. This was something that was kind of ULA's bread and butter, and SpaceX kind of was like, hey, how about Falcon Heavy? And, what you go back to 2018, Falcon Heavy wasn't really, that was the first launch. Now it's up, it's operational, and SpaceX kind of stole this away from ULA a little bit. Sorry to ULA, but yeah. Nina wants to know, is there any news about the Boeing astronauts? There is no new news. The Boeing astronauts are doing fine. As I mentioned this in a little bit earlier. I mentioned it in my video that I made about the rescue mission. Everything is fine. Like, there's not really anything going on. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments whether you think this is interesting. My thought was I might make a video like reading the comments from that video. I mean, there are some wild comments. If you want an entertaining afternoon, just read through the comments on my last YouTube video about the rescue mission. I don't know. I thought I did a pretty good job on the video, if I don't say so myself. But yeah, a lot of interesting comments. I think I'm gonna make a video like reading the comments. I think it would be really funny. Like, some of the comments are actually like really good questions, and I want to get some of that information out there. Some of the comments are like off the wall, and I think it'd be fun to get some of those out there as well. So, like mean tweets, yeah, as Cram says, yeah, some of them are quite interesting. And I don't know, maybe in the past I was too sensitive, but if people would attack me personally, a lot of times I would just delete those comments. But I've not deleted any comments off of the latest video that I made, and some of them were pretty crazy. And I was like, you know what? I didn't say it. I'll put your name out there. Like, we'll leave this comment out. I don't care. I don't know. Maybe I'm just over. Maybe I'm just over it. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, so I think I might make a video reading through some of those comments, because some of them are very interesting. They're good questions. One of them that I get pretty frequently is like, why, if everything is fine, why aren't they coming? If everything was fine, they would have come back sooner. Not really. Like, why? Like, it's not. In fact, if everything's fine, why not stay longer? Like, so. Yes, they've delayed it, and they've said that the reason for the delay is so that they can test and analyze. And I mean, that makes perfect engineering sense too, because the service module doesn't come back. Like, if the service module doesn't come back, like, I would want to run, if I was the engineer on their team that was responsible for this thing that didn't work right. Let's call a spade a spade. The service module did not work correctly. We had a couple of thrusters that malfunctioned. One thruster completely malfunctioned.
Stage 2, fuel load complete.
And this is what a lot of people, everybody hears that the 5 thrusters failed. 4 of them came back online, right? There's another question people got. Well, if they went offline, what's to say how did they come back online? They just reboot it? Well, I mean, I'll give you a theoretical example, which might actually be what happened. There's been some hints that this is actually what happened, but I'm just going to say it's theoretical right now. All right. Let's say I'm the software engineer that's responsible for the thrusters, and I'm responsible for the thruster safety system. We've flown this thruster system a couple of times. We want to make sure the thruster system doesn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I'm going to set the temperature limit. I know it can handle 100 degrees or 1,000 degrees, we'll say. I know it can handle 1,000 degrees, but I don't want to get close to that limit. So I'm going to set my software to be 400 degrees. And if it breaks 400 degrees, we're going to shut the thruster down. And so they go up, they fly it. The thruster hits 401 degrees. Computer shuts it down. Engineers start looking at the data. They go, oh, well, that's why the thruster shut down. It went to 401 degrees, and Tori set the limit at 400. Hey, Tori, why don't we try to set the limit at 410 degrees instead of 400? I look at it and go, well, I know the thruster can handle 1,000 degrees, so all right, I'll set it at 410. Let's see what happens. Set it at 410, re-enable the thruster, and then we go for it. This time, it hits 401 degrees again. Under my limit. It's working fine. All right, I guess 410's the new limit. Continue on. There's nothing wrong with that. And now, they dock it to the space station, and they say, okay, so we had this issue. The thruster went up to 401 degrees. We've never seen it go up to 401 degrees. All the previous flights, it only went to 490 degrees. So why did it go up to 401 degrees? You know what we should do? Let's run a test and see if we can figure out how we got to 401 degrees. Can we replicate that? Can we make it get to 401 degrees? Can I make it get higher than 401 degrees? Let's try this out. Let's simulate.
Stage 2, LOX load has started.
And so that's what again, this is all theoretical, but that's like a perfectly normal thing that could happen on a test flight, right? So now they're docked to the station, everything is fine, and as an engineer or software engineer responsible for that, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Let's run a test or a simulation on the hardware. Like, let me see if I can get it to 402 degrees. Let me see if I can get it to 420 degrees. Will it get to 420? What if I do this? What if I enable the thruster next to it? Will that raise the temperature? What if I enable the thruster next to it, but I wait 5 seconds to do it? Will that raise the temperature? It's all these things that they could do while it's on orbit. And they're trying to understand. They're like, well, I've never seen it get that high before. So why did this happen? Why did it get this high? It's not unsafe. It's perfectly fine. Anyways, there you go. Let me get off my soapbox for a minute. Philip Swanner has a good question, though. How do they test it when it's attached to the ISS? Well, one of the big things they did back on June 15th is they ran a hot fire test where they actually ignited the thrusters. And like, we don't know. A lot of people think, they're like, well, they're not sharing it with us. They're hiding some information. I did say in my video, I wish they would give more information because it would probably put a lot of this to bed. But I do also understand, a lot of people forget that ITAR is a thing. The International Trafficking Arms Regulation? What's the R for? Can't remember. ITAR, which is basically the law about what you can distribute for rocket technology. Remember, rocket technology is kind of like ballistic missiles, and foreign entities might really want to know how rockets work so they can build ballistic missiles. And the US doesn't really want them to know how rockets work. So there's a lot of things that I understand that NASA and Boeing cannot share because it would be too detailed and would violate ITAR because it would risk risk foreign entities finding out how we use rockets. But I bet there's a little bit more that they could be sharing with us. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Back on June 15th, they did a hot fire test where they actually lit the thrusters to do some of what I just said there, where we're tested. They would build a test scenario and do a whole bunch of those things during that hot fire test and fire the thrusters, try to hit some limits, probably try to see if they can break it again. I mean, that's any software system I've developed. That's what I do. I'm like, all right, well, that sucked. It didn't work right. Let me see if I can break it again. And then you figure out, all right, well, I broke it again. What did I do the same this time? All right, let's do it again. Let me see if I can break it this time. And then that's how we fix things. I mean, preferably you find them out before you fly the mission, but it's still a test flight. I mean, the fact that it's not perfect, it doesn't bother me. Let's see. Tim Dodd just did his third Starbase tour. I'm sure Boeing can manage a statement without breaching ITAR. Yeah, so, I mean, the thing is, I agree and I disagree with you at the same time. I do think there's more they could tell us, and they could do a better job of phrasing some things. Sometimes some of the things that they've said so far has been phrased in like a very mysterious sounding way, which just sends people off the deep end. That said, where I disagree with you is where people say like, well, Boeing should put out a statement. They have put out a statement. They told us exactly what they said. We have helium leaks. They're not a big deal. They said 5 thrusters failed. 4 of them have come back online. We're not concerned about them. 1 has failed. It's going to be off for the mission. Everything is fine. Everybody's safe. There's no big deal. They put out a statement. We want more information than that, but they did put out a statement. They've had like 5 press conferences at this point. We just want more. That's the part I agree with you with, is people want more. I agree. I also want more, but we do have to acknowledge that they did put out a statement and they did tell us what's happening. We want more information. Anyways. Let's see. Framrick said, service module burns up, unlike some debris from the ISS. Cough. Yes, the service module does burn up. I don't know what that is. I don't know who's yelling. Like there's people at the press site. I don't know what's happening. What's happening? It must just be people at the press site cheering. All right, I'm going to turn them down. Scared me. I thought something was happening. There's a NASA social going on for this event. I considered going to it. That would have been kind of cool. But I'm guessing it's probably the NASA social people making a video because they're probably staged at the press site here where the same camera view is. Anyways, carrying on. Yeah, so one of the main reasons why Boeing is delaying and why they're staying is because the service module doesn't come back. Once they come back, the service module gets destroyed intentionally, and there's no more tests you can run. Can't do it anymore. So in my theoretical example I gave earlier, when you're testing the thrusters, I mean, maybe it's something unique to this particular thruster. Maybe there was a manufacturing difference that they did. Maybe there was a way they changed the wiring and it was unique to this vehicle. And they might be using their integration lab behind the scenes saying like, well, we have this integration lab behind the scenes. That one doesn't go to 401 degrees. That one only goes to 390. So how come this one goes to 401? So then they change it in their integration lab in the back end and they say, well, let me move these wires closer together. And now let's test it in the integration lab. Oh, it got to 401 degrees. Maybe maybe the wires are too close. Let's separate the wires. Let's test it again. And those are all the things that like happen behind the scenes that they don't tell us. Like we want that kind of information, but they're likely not only testing the vehicle in flight, but they're also probably testing in simulators and integration labs behind the scenes, trying to replicate things while the service module still exists. So they can go back to the integration lab, try things out, move things around, simulate things, and then try it out on the vehicle and see if their theory on the ground matches what's happening with the vehicle. So many things that could be happening. Okay. Oh, and Framrick, I skipped over your comment there about some debris from the ISS that doesn't burn up. So I think Framrick is referring to a battery pack that got jettisoned from the ISS and went through somebody's house in Florida. And now they're suing NASA because of it. That'll be an interesting... That's never happened before. So that'll be interesting to find out the result of that. Oh, yeah. Wild West Dan said there was a moment when Elon said maybe don't get too close to that stuff on the table because of ITAR. Yeah, it does mention, I mean, not only, so this was the comment about Tim Dodd doing a Starbase tour and ITAR. Elon does mention ITAR in the video. He tells Tim not to video something up too close. And some people know this, maybe some people don't, but after Tim shoots those videos, before he can publish it, he has to send it for review to SpaceX and their legal team to make sure that they review it and nothing he's showing violates ITAR. And almost certainly there's footage in there that he had to cut because it violated ITAR. We're not going to see it. We will never see it. The only people that'll see it are Tim, his staff, and whoever was reviewing it. But I'm sure there's certainly things that were probably cut out of the video because they violated ITAR, and then we're just never going to see them. We can only see the things that don't violate ITAR. Yep, perfect. Big thing. I've said this a million times. They're testing it on orbit because the service module burns up on reentry. It doesn't come back. That's the only. So yeah, it went up. Something happened that they didn't expect to happen. Okay, would they prefer that it didn't happen? Yes, of course. They would have preferred that they don't have helium leaks. They would have preferred that the thrusters didn't fail, but they did. They've resolved it. They've managed it. Now they're just testing to make sure they understand it before they destroy this vehicle. The debris came like Santa. It might have been the people that had the battery go through their house. I don't think it was quite as joyous as Santa. Not quite. All right, so again, obviously here's our Falcon Heavy. We're only 8.5 minutes to launch. We are so far not heard anything on the nets that would indicate any sort of problems with weather. Skies look good. That can be a little bit deceiving because we are...
Stage 1, fuel load complete.
So we're still fueling. The looks can be a little deceiving because not only are we concerned about...
Spacecraft is on internal power.
Not only are we concerned about cumulus clouds and anvil clouds, but we're also concerned about surface electric fields, lightning potential, and that can extend away from the pad a little ways because we don't want to have rocket-induced lightning. So that's probably one of the big concerns. And again, this is what our forecast was looking like. Here's our radar. We can see big storms in the area. Potential. They pushed the launch by about 10 minutes just to make sure that they could get around a storm cell. Or it's probably that storm cell that was really close. The storm cell right here, right? This is it's kind of going this direction to the south a little bit, like very slowly. So
Positive Y, fuel load complete.
Up here, it was a little bit too close maybe, and so they pushed it. They only pushed the launch by 10 minutes. We do have a 2-hour window. We got plenty of time that we could hold and recycle if something happens. At this point, we're under the T-minus 30-minute gate, so we can't have any lightning strikes right now without having a hold called. They could call a hold and wait another 30 minutes and then try to launch again. They'd have to deal with the fuel situation, but it could be done. So we do still have lots of time in the window. There you go, Graham. Graham sending over the big reminder. Of course, as we get a little bit closer, if you're watching, please consider hitting the like button, especially if you're getting any value from these live streams. It does help. It helps us reach other people, get more people in here. Consider sharing it out with your friends, especially a Falcon Heavy launch. Like, who's
Negative Y, fuel load complete.
Who's not excited about a Falcon Heavy launch? I'm pumped. We'll get everybody excited. All right, so there's my sales pitch. Consider hitting that like button. Only if you're getting value. If you're not getting value, I don't know, tell me what to do better. Tell me, say something. See something, say something. There you go. Coasters and cosplays. Falcon Heavy launches are the best. This will be exciting. And not to mention, this will be cool because we get the double booster landing back at the landing zone. Of course, that is always quite the sight to see. Here we go. Wild West Dan goes for pump up jams. We do have to pull. We're gonna have to pull the Space Lobster Nation here in just a moment, as we get a little bit closer here. Robert Yanisak, welcome to the ground control. Thanks for becoming a new channel member. For anybody that's not aware, at the Rocketeer and above, I did release that rescue mission video early, 1 day early for anybody that was Rocketeer and above, what did I call it? Rocket Engineer tier and above. Got early
Falcon
access.
Heavy tanks are pressurizing for strong back, retract.
What does this say? Crazzle high. Crazy high. I'm not sure what your username says. Thank you for being the only voice of reason on Starliner. The sensationalism was out of control. We have gotten, there was quite a bit of colorful comments. I think I'm going to make a video with some of those comments
has started
because they're interesting. NTO and MMH orange clouds. Yeah, we don't want any of that. That was from the Chinese first stage booster that came raining down. Victoria Taylor, who's down in Florida watching her first launch for Falcon Heavy for the first launch, says the clouds are definitely getting closer, but I haven't seen any lightning. That's good news, Victoria. Reporting in.
The LD on the NLM net with a final status check.
Oh, here we go. Final status check.
LD, everything's looking good on our end.
Copy that. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Eugene, thanks. Welcome aboard. Thanks for becoming an astronaut member. Really appreciate your support. Of course. All right. Let's see. We gotta get things ready. Let's get people pulled.
NY
oh.
lock, countdown 1.
LD.
NASA is go for launch.
Ooh, NASA's go.
Copy, thank you.
Oh, we forgot our... Hold on. Redo.
PY, lock load complete.
Where's the button that I want? Oh, there it is. Space Lobster Nation, this is Space Lobster Control. Give me a go, no go in chat for Falcon Heavy goes you. Let's hear it. All right, there's our polling so that we can find out if we're good to go. Sounds like the launch team is good to go. We're about 2.5 minutes away. We can see the water spewing. Oh, it's right here, spewing out of the water tower. That is perfectly normal. That happens all the time at Launch Pad 39A. So they're topping that water off, making sure that the tank is completely
Stage 1,
full.
lock load complete.
They will use that water for a lot of the suppression system that comes pouring out of there in a hurry. So that is perfectly normal. All the venting we're seeing, perfectly normal. Super cold cryogenic fuels. You condense on the outside. Or the warm air condenses, I should say.
The Falcon Heavy rocket is completely filled with 2.8 million pounds of propellant.
All right. Thank you very much.
Stage 2, lock load complete.
All right, here we go. We're getting close. 2 minutes away now. I will crank this volume all the way up. Hopefully we get some good sounds here. Counting it down. Our timer is off again. I don't know how we got 7 seconds off on our timer. That's all right. We're going to be pretty close here. Here's our big vent, 1.5-minute vent here. That's great news. Oh, getting some sounds again.
Ground gas close-ups.
We got pad mics. One minute to go.
Falcon Heavy is in startup.
Oh, here we go.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
Directors go.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Oh, our timer's a little behind. Or a little ahead, I guess I should say. We'll get rid of our timer. Come on.
15 seconds.
50.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, engine full power, and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Falcon Heavy, go NOAA, go NASA, and go you.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Engine chamber pressure is nominal. Power and telemetry nominal.
Falcon Heavy is supersonic. Max Q.
Max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. we should be coming up here on BECO. That'll be booster engine cutoff. That's going to happen at about 2:25. Hopefully I fix my timer here. 2:25 for BECO. She is going. This is fantastic. Where do they land? Sidecore boosters are going to land back at the launch site at LZ1 and LZ2. So they're going to return and land. Center core is going to be expended. There's BECO. There's separation.
Side booster separation confirmed.
Look at that.
And back, Jill.
Oh, that's so cool.
PYNY boost back startup.
Oh, there you go. Boost back startup. Here. Look. Oh, that's so cool looking. Just seeing them spin around in unison like that. That is so cool. Now, remember,
all
these
vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
These boosters are still ascending, right? They are boosting back, but they're still going up. So they don't come down right away. They continue up. They boost back to stop their horizontal movements, but they don't really they let gravity stop the vertical movement. So they're just boosting back to stop the horizontal movement and start heading back to the LZ. But they're still ascending. They're still climbing. So now both of these center core is not going to be recovered. We don't have any view. Do I have another view? Where's my view of the... Oh, there we go. There's the center core. Continuing on. I do have another camera view that we can show.
NY boost back shutdown. PY boost back shutdown.
MECO.
There we go.
Stage separation confirmed.
MECO, stage separation. There we go. There goes the upper stage. Center core is going to be expended. There's our upper stage, second stage, continuing on into orbit.
All vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Having a little bit.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Just fairing separation. Here's our boosters again. We only got one booster. RIP to the center core. Yep, center core is going to crash into the ocean. They are not recovering the center core today. This is one of the first stage boosters. One of the side boosters that we're looking at here. You can see thruster fires. Those grid fins. We'll get an entry burn here. So right now we've passed apogee for the boosters. They are coming down, but we're still pretty far out of the atmosphere. Right now we're still in pretty thin air, so the thruster is mostly doing the work here. As we get a little bit lower, those grid fins will do a lot of work. Remember, so those side boosters, when they come back to the LZ, they actually target the water right next to the LZ in case something goes wrong. And then those
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Those grid fins will actually push the boosters a little bit further towards the landing zone. How come we don't recover the second stage? So they wanted to use as much energy as possible to boost the satellite into its proper orbit. So there was not enough fuel left in the second stage to do a landing burn. The center core. The center core is very hard to recover because it has so much more energy than those side boosters that you need quite a bit of fuel to do an entry burn and a landing burn. And that really leaves you with a lot less performance because that center core is going so much faster than those side boosters when it actually separates. So that center core, much, much harder to recover. They've only landed...
CYNY entry burn startup.
Their entry burn. They've only landed the center core once, but they never recovered it. It tipped over and got destroyed on its way back. So they've only ever landed it once.
PYNY entry burn shutdown.
Is our booster shutdown?
PYNY FTS is safed.
I do have another.
All vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
We do have another camera view. We got this camera view that we can look at too. Shows both stages here, but I'm going to switch us back to this one. We can watch that booster come back down. I'm going to try to switch back and forth between the two, maybe. Look at that. You can see the boosters coming down there. Here it is. Look at this.
PYNY transonic.
Feels like it's coming right at us.
Stage 2 FTS is safed.
Landing burn coming in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Landing burn.
PYNY landing burn. Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
There it is. Oh, yeah.
PYNY landing light deploy.
Ah, that's so cool. There's my other camera view.
PYNY landing confirmed.
Boom. 2 boosters. That's got to be one of the coolest things.
SECO.
There's SECO. That's the second stage. That's still got to be one of the coolest things
Nominal
ever.
orbit insertion.
It seems so routine these days, but like that's got to be one of the coolest things still is seeing 2 boosters land side by side is just ridiculous. Like that is so cool. Okay, well. So they've made it to parking orbit here. So we've had SECO, second engine cutoff there, or second stage cutoff, single engine cutoff. And our second stage is now in its parking orbit. You can see it's a pretty low parking orbit, indicated by the blue line here. Pretty low parking orbits. This satellite is going to geostationary orbit, so they need to get... The next thing they're going to do is they're going to do another burn at perigee to raise their apogee to that geostationary transfer orbit. And then they will coast for like 4 hours and then do a circularization burn. And if you haven't seen my video on how orbits work, maybe consider looking at the video on how orbits work, because that's what they're doing here today. So right now we're in a small parking orbit, circular-ish parking orbit, but this has to go much farther out there. So they can't stay here. They're going to get to geostationary transfer orbit, which is out there. And that's so that the satellites can stay in the same spot in the sky over the U.S. at all times. All right, let's grab a couple of comments here. So we've got another 16 minutes now until the next event. So right now, stage 2 is just coasting, but it'll relight about T plus 26 minutes. So we're waiting for that. Waiting for that moment. All right, let's see. Where are my comments? Let's go back through. We'll grab a couple of comments here. Hey, Robert Wohl with a super chat. Thank you very much, Robert. Thanks for supporting the channel and supporting the stream. This is Robert's 5th super chat. So another frequent contributor. What? Another frequent contributor. Thank you very much, Robert. Really appreciate your support. Let's see. going through a couple of comments here. Mike Mason, Tori, you give us so many details that we don't get from other presenters. Thank you very much. Well, I thank you very much for that. I appreciate the kind words. Is the center core a normal booster nearing its total launch count? No, the center core is very unique. So the side boosters can operate as Falcon 9 rockets. The center core cannot. The center core is pretty much unique just to Falcon Heavy. So it's built for Falcon Heavy. It flies on Falcon Heavy, and that's it. So no. Oh, here. B-Boy Corrosive. Dude, how nuts will the first chopstick catch be? That's going to be insane. That will be crazy to see that chopstick catch. Like, even if it doesn't work the first time, like, I will be losing it just to watch that. Like, I can't even believe they're going to try to do that with Starship. That will be crazy. Let's see. Center core needs a heat shield. Yeah, that is one way that you could. So the center core, obviously, it was expended today, but there's a couple of reasons why it is expended. It is very difficult, as I mentioned, to recover the center core because it has so much more energy than those boosters when it separates. So you would either need lots of extra fuel so that you could do an entry burn and slow it down and then safely come into the atmosphere without destroying everything. And then you got to do a landing burn. But if you're using all that extra fuel, that means you can't use that fuel for your satellite that's trying to get to orbit. And so you lose a little bit of performance. So instead, what they do on this mission is they're just going to use all the fuel in the center core. And then that center core is just going to crash into the ocean. Deorbitate. One of the alternative things you could do is put some heat shielding on the center core, maybe beef up the engine so they could survive that landing. However, then you run into the classic rocket problem. If you add heat shields and shielding on the engines to survive it, then you need more fuel to lift those heat shields. And if you need more fuel to lift the heat shields, you lose performance. And so you need more fuel to lift that fuel. And then you're heavier. And then you need more fuel to lift that fuel. And then you need more fuel to lift that fuel. And then it goes on and on and on. It's a classic rocket problem, right? The heavier you get, the more fuel you need. The more fuel you need, the heavier you get, which is the more fuel you need. So it's a very delicate balance. Anyways, Graham, thank you very much for the super chat. Graham said, oops, I meant to stay on that one here. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, there we go. All right. Graham, thank you very much, Graham. Graham says, shut up and take my money. Well, when you put it that way, I feel guilty about it. Like, I don't. First of all, it doesn't come to me. Overlook Horizon is a 501c nonprofit organization. I'm a volunteer. I don't make this is not my job. I mean, it feels like a job, but it's not my job. This is not how I make a living. I do this for fun. I'm a volunteer. But your funds, like your super chats that you send in, help us make better broadcasts. So there. Thank you very much for your support. Tony who? Tony, thank you very much for the super chat as well. I really appreciate it. The super chat has I was trying to figure out. I was like, what is this number 3 that's next to it? That's because this is Tony's 3rd super chat on one of our live streams. Thank you very much, Tony. Another frequent contributor. Not to be outdone, though. Why does it keep going away when I click on it? WS Big Band with a super chat as well. WS Big Band's first super chat ever on one of our live streams. So thank you very much, WS Big Band. All right. I don't know. I just like pushing the buttons on my. I like all the stuff that I have here. I just like. I have you got toys and buttons and just having a good time. All right. Thank you very much. Robert says, great lobster coverage again. Thanks very much. Thank you very much. We got to get...
Space Lobster ate the T-Teb.
Yep.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
There's something for every lobster fan.
And there's something for every lobster fan here. All right, let's see. Yeah, Framrick says, guess who has a new studio? Yeah, we do have a new studio. And with the new studio, I have lots of extra buttons that I can push and play around with. So Anita says, so many new buttons to push. I know, I can't keep them all straight. There are so many. Peaks and Pokes says it orberated. Deorberate. I don't know. We don't have an orberated button. I bet I could clip. I could probably clip this one. Deorberate. And just turn it into orberate. Deorberate. We could probably make an orberate. Deorberate. That would actually be kind of funny. We need the opposite of deorberate. We need an orberate button. There you go. He gave me an idea for another button. A little throwback from, I think Framrick put this in here from our Nightbot about the people that may be confused about all the lobster stuff that's around here. Space Lobster was a stream blooper from the very first SpaceX Falcon Heavy when I had no idea what I was doing as a live streamer and accidentally played a Red Lobster commercial at volume 9,000 for everybody watching. And also, still to this date, one of my most watched live streams ever. We were all here trying to figure out what happened to the center core, and we were hanging out for a long time. And so, I don't know, it was at like the peak of when everybody was watching. We had like thousands and thousands of people here watching. And at that point, like the channel was pretty young. And so I had never really had that many people watching before. And then then all of a sudden Red Lobster joined the party, and I was super embarrassed, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm such a fool. But we've kind of just leaned into it, and now I don't care. I'm not embarrassed by it anymore, and I think it's funny. So that's the way things go around here.
Lobster Fest is on.
My friend Adam Bell says, I vote for Helkin Fevy for a new soundbite. That's not a bad idea either, actually. We just take all of my mistakes and we turn them into sound bites and memes and GIFs and t-shirts. That's how everything works on this channel. I got a commenter. Somebody commented, there's too many comments on my last video. You're probably never going to find it, but somebody did comment on the last video about the Crew Dragon rescue mission and just said, dude, you got to take yourself more seriously. Like, they were angry because they said I wasn't being serious enough. I thought the last video was pretty serious, actually. I tried not to goof around in the last one, but I replied to the comment and just said, Director Tory? ? So there are still some people that think I'm not serious enough. I'll try to be more serious. I do what I can. But I'm just having fun. This is a good time. Framrick, Tori has his own GIF library. This is true. I've taken all the GIFs that people have made, and then I also make them because I think they're funny. And we have an entire GIF library on Giphy. If you search OLHZN on Giphy, like if you're using, I don't know, pretty much any messenger that you can send GIFs in, if you search OLHZN for a GIF, you're going to find a whole bunch of me, usually saying silly things or making mistakes. There's new ones. There's a couple of Director Tory in there that I just put in there recently because I thought they were funny. Anyways, yeah, Wild West dances. They're not mistakes. They're future content. This is true. This is the way it goes around here. Teresa Eamon, thank you very much for the super chat. Glad to have a lobster option for launches again. We're back. We're ready. We're going. We're doing well. I think so. I don't know. Maybe we're not doing well, but I think we're fine. Teresa's first super chat on one of our live streams. Thank you very much, Teresa. While the applause is going, Aiden becoming a new channel member. Thank you very much, Aiden. Graham says, did I miss Helkin Fevy? You did miss Helkin Fevy. That was earlier in the stream. That happened. Anita welcoming Aiden to Space Lobster Nation. So right now, what we've got going on is we're in a coast phase. For the next 4 minutes, we're waiting for second stage restart to raise our apogee. We'll see how high we can. We'll see if they'll show that. I don't know if they'll actually show it. They don't usually show us. They'll show us the burn. They don't show us the apogee raise. I wish they would. It would be kind of cool to see, but on the map here, that is with the blue line. So. Have you, TB Seeker's been around the channel for a long time. Have you had a return to sender on returning recovered weather balloons? I don't know what you mean by that. Are you saying have I had a weather balloon sent back to me after I returned it to the National Weather Service? Because that's assuming that I send them back to the National Weather Service when I recover them. I have lots of them because I use them as educational demonstrations when I go visit classrooms or talk to people or just want to show people cool stuff about weather balloons. We are... Yeah, Anita says we're still waiting for a sign of life from Shrimpy. Shrimpy was our 10th weather balloon flight that was lost. Still out there somewhere. I don't think we'll ever see Shrimpy again. Shrimpy was teeny tiny. It was like this big. And you can't see that. It was like this big. You're never going to find it. There is, our very first flight is in a big giant box with my phone number on the side of it. So still holding out hope that our very first weather balloon flight somebody finds someday. It hasn't happened yet. We'll see. Red Scorpion, can't wait for Starship 5 launch. That's going to be crazy. I can't wait either. Graham, I didn't notice the geostationary transfer orbit. We're not in geostationary transfer orbit yet, but we will be. We're in a parking orbit right now. That's what the next burn is for here in about a minute and a half, is to put us into geostationary transfer orbit, GTO. Do you have any Sans in the studio? I do have Sans in the studio. I got a bunch. We got a bunch of them on the shelves. We have... We'll switch to this view here. Maybe you can see this. We have the old school LMS-6 this used to be the radio sonde that launched from Buffalo National Weather Service there. Can you read that? This is from September 6, 2020. This was the radio sonde that was launched. They used to look like this. They don't look like this anymore. This is the old one. They don't launch that anymore. Now, they look like this. Much smaller. This one, this is called an RS-41 from Vasela. This is actually, so this is the kind that we launch now out of Buffalo, New York. But this one in particular is actually from Australia. So one of my friends from Australia sent this to me before they were doing these in Buffalo. I do have one of these that Buffalo launched, but not in the studio. But this is what they look like now. They're teeny tiny, and they have these little, it's kind of taped on here, but they have little antennas that poke out the sides like this way. And then I have this one. I don't even know where they launched this, but this is an RS-92. I don't know who launches these, but somebody also sent me this one. This is not used in anywhere near me, but this is an RS-92, also from Vasela. That's another one that has a really cool helical antenna on top. Can you see that? So that's an RS-92. I got 3 different radio sondes in the studio. Here we go. Engine relight. So this is second stage restart. This is going to go for about a minute to 27:46. This is putting us into GTO, geostationary transfer orbit. Let's see. We also go. Oh, we're losing the. Lost the stage 2 feed. I wonder if this does not have Starlink on it. They're not using Starlink on our Falcon Heavies, maybe. Well, that's a bummer. You can see our blue line no longer wraps around the planet. That's because our apogee on the other side of the planet is now way out there. Our apogee now touches geostationary orbit, but we're in an elliptical or elongated oval shape, or at least we're going to be here shortly. About another 10 seconds from now. 10 seconds and we'll be in geostationary transfer orbit, a big elliptical oval-shaped orbit, where the closest point of Earth is in our low Earth parking orbit. And the highest point of the orbit is geostationary orbit. This is putting us into GTO. We should have SECO 2, which would be that single engine cutoff.
Nominal transfer orbit.
There you go. Nominal transfer orbit. So now we are in geostationary transfer orbit. So that's taking us from low Earth orbit. On the other side of the planet, it'll extend way out to geostationary orbit. And then once we get to geostationary orbit, there will be second stage restart. Now that, we're not going to stick around for that because that's not going to happen for another 4.5 hours. So it's going to coast from here all the way out to its geostationary orbit. And then it will do a circularization burn way out there 4.5 hours from now to circularize the orbit. And then it will deploy the satellite. And then what that gives is the satellite can use all of its onboard fuel for minor corrections. This GOES-U satellite is going to last, will be in service until at least 2036. So it extends the GOES satellite constellation to 2036. The GOES satellite constellation has been a huge part of weather forecasting for the US and Canada. Not only that, but one of the cool things that the GOES satellite has that none of the other GOES satellites have is it's also monitoring now space weather. So it's looking at like solar weather and solar activity to kind of see and measure and forecast what impacts solar weather will have on the planet and on all of our satellites that are in orbit and things like that. None of the other GOES satellites have done that. GOES-U will start doing that now. So it's a really cool thing as well. Another reason why it's one of the most, or it is the most advanced weather satellite ever. Dave Townsend, hi Tori. When will you be doing another live Lego build on air? I enjoyed watching your recent build. I do have another Lego set to build. I've got the lunar module to build. I'm probably going to wait until, I don't know, maybe towards the end of the summer or something like that to do that. Just give everybody a little bit of a break. Maybe we'll pick it back up again later. So I'll probably be like the end of the summer when I do the Lego build. I don't know, at least that's the plan in my head right now. Let's see if we can grab any other comments before we wrap up here for today. Yeah, we might be getting ready to wrap up. Oh, you can clear this comment here. We might be getting ready to wrap it up here. So at this point, we are now... There's not a whole lot that's going to happen after this point here. So next up, what's going to happen from this point is 4 hours and 21 minutes into the launch. So about 4 hours from now, a little less than 4 hours from now is when we get that second stage relight and SECO 3. I'm not going to stick around for that. I don't necessarily want to stream forever. We've been going for about an hour and 45 minutes, which is not too bad. We should do it again. I'm not sure. So the next one that we probably do, I'm really hoping that it will be Polaris Dawn. I think that'll probably be the next big mission that we live stream, would be Polaris Dawn, because right now it's expected to be on July 12th. If it's on July 12th, I can't do it. But Jared Isaacman posted on Twitter, or X, that maybe that was going to get delayed. And so if it is, that would be great, because I can't do it on the 12th or the 13th, but I could do it on the 14th or just about any time after that. So I'm thinking it will be delayed past that, and then we'll do Polaris Dawn, which will be kind of cool. And Wild West Dan says, welcome raiders. Are we getting raided on Twitch? I don't know what that's like. I've never been raided on Twitch. Admiral Ender says, hi, Dan. Admiral Ender's been around on the Twitch channel for a long time. Any word? Admiral Ender says, I kind of raided you, but I don't know if it worked. I don't either, so I don't know how that works. I'm not. I should be better. I'm not well versed on the Twitter, or not the Twitter, the Twitch universe. I mean, we do a lot on YouTube. I've always simulcast on Twitch, but I can't really get too far into the Twitch universe because Twitch, I don't know if they still have this, but they always used to have, like, if you were going to be a Twitch affiliate, you had to, part of their terms was that you had to sign or agree to that Twitch would be your exclusive streaming platform. And so I couldn't simulcast on all the different platforms if I was a Twitch affiliate. And so I don't do that. So I'm not a Twitch affiliate. And so, yeah, but we still simulcast. So anyways, thanks, Admiral Ender. Where did I ran into you in Wild West Dan's Twitch when I was watching Wild West Dan. I don't know. Wild West Dan's got like all kind. I need to talk to Wild West Dan because he's got all kinds of cool games that you can play during his stream. I don't have any of that. We need to get. That would be kind of cool. Wild West Dan says, but now you can simulcast the Twitch affiliate. Oh, can you? Did they change that? That's kind of cool. See, I didn't keep up on it, but all right, maybe I'll pay more attention to that now. But yeah, so I ran into Admiral Ender, who's over on Twitch, on Wild West Dan's Twitch feed. But yeah, he's got all kinds of cool games. How do we get games? Tell me. I don't know how to do games on Twitch. I swear I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. Nina says, I think Nina's asking about our next live stream. Said, where's your comment? I just saw it. It's now gone. Where did it go? Da-da-da. There it is. Or the return of the Boeing astronauts. That kind of depends on when it is. I suspect I'm going out of town for a little while, and it sounds like they might be coming back while I'm out of town. And so I won't be able to stream if they do that. I really wanted to cover their return. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to figure out a way to stream while I'm on the road. I don't know. I'm not sure if that'll work out, but I would love to cover the return of the Boeing astronauts. Maybe this will probably get everybody all amped up. Maybe they'll delay it even more, and then I can stream it. And I'm sure everybody will be fine with them delaying it longer, and nobody will say a negative word at all. Yeah, that probably won't happen. Adam Bell says, any word if there will be another Netflix documentary for Polaris Dawn? I don't know. I haven't heard of any. Has anybody heard that? I have not heard that. It would be really cool. I mean, Polaris Dawn is doing some really cool stuff. Like that'll be a huge advancement for SpaceX, for Polaris Dawn to do what they're doing. Like that'll be a really cool mission to watch. TB Seeger, thank you, Tori. Thank you for mods for all you do and tolerate. And Nina says, you're out of town while they're out of the planet. This is true. Adrian Shaw, delay it. Yeah, at this point, let's delay it a little longer. What's the big deal? They can stay for up to 45 days. I think they have, I forget what the actual limitation is, but one of their batteries, I think, is only rated for 45 days. One of the onboard batteries. Starliner, operational Starliner will be able to last for 6 months on orbit. But this particular flight test was only meant to have a maximum of 45 days because of, I think it's one of their onboard batteries. I can't remember specifically what the limitation was, but Wild West Dan. Internet commenters being negative? Never. No. Never. That's not at all why I'm going to make a video reading the comments from my last YouTube video. Oh, I love the internet. They have it on computers now, too. Red Scorpion says max is 72 days with onboard backups. Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that. But, yeah, last I had heard was 45 days. But, yeah, I'd have to take a look at that. More Boeing delays. Yeah, why not? Well, we should delay it a little bit longer so that I can stream it. Can that be a valid reason? If we tell the internet that they're going to delay the return of Starliner just another week or two so that Overlook Horizon can stream the touchdown and the return, I'm sure the internet will be fine with that. People love drama so much that they invent their own. Isn't that the truth? It is. There is a lot of that going around. All right. Well, I think we've covered it all here today. We went for about 2 hours. We did a nice little Falcon Heavy live stream. I love Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy is so cool. It's so, like, the double booster landing has got to be one of the coolest things ever. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that, post a clip. So if anybody missed it, they can see it. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you all joining me here today. Maybe on your way out, click the like button. Consider subscribing if you aren't already. I figure if you're still here, you're probably already subscribed. But if you're not, consider it. Some people do forget to hit the like button, but maybe do that as well. And then I'm going to leave it here. Also, you can consider joining the Discord if you want to talk more about maybe that Raspberry Pi project I talked about at the beginning of the stream, where you can download some GOES images, ask me questions over there. I'll pop in and say hello in the Discord. I do have to run somewhere here in a little bit, but I'll pop in. I'll be around. Say hello, chat some more over on Discord. overlookhorizon.com/Discord will get you the invite. You don't have to remember one of those crazy Discord invites. If you're on, Graham just dropped one in the YouTube chat. If you're not in the YouTube chat, I could just copy and paste it, I suppose. Here, we'll put it everywhere else. Go like this. Does this do everybody? What does this do? Oh, this sends it everywhere. There we go. Okay. Too slow. Oh, Wild West Tan. You're too slow. Well, you beat me to it. Well, I sent it over on Facebook as well. All right. Well, thanks for joining. Maybe we'll see you on the next one. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. This was fun. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.